Late nights and good cushions, all she really asked for. Good conversation in the show, this shit asked for to lean on. Shawty need somebody she can clean on. I could be that crack to that broken leg, you can't depend.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jesse V with another episode of One-on-One Red Cards hosted by Love and Fashion. You can check out all our videos on lnfpics.com. So tonight I'm here. We're one of the hottest DJs in New York, DJ Hip Hop Mike.
Me?
Nah?
That's me?
That's you.
Oh, yeah. I'm Hip Hop Mike. I didn't know I was the hottest DJ in New York, but I'm here. What's up?
What's up? You gotta show them what it is, bro.
Listen, I mean, I like it. Listen, I'll take that title. What's up?
Tuesdays through Fridays, he's on Hot 97 from 12, from midnight going on. And on Mondays on XSL Radio
Yes, sir.
at 8 p.m. So you make sure you tune in at all times. So
It's a fact.
I'm happy to have you here with us, you know what I'm saying? It's
Pleasure,
good.
my man.
It's good. So first topic I want to know, like, what got you started DJ? Like, who inspired you? What happened?
To be honest, I started out, I was like 13 years old working at this mixtape spot in like Queens in Astoria. And
We're in the story.
on 30th Ave and Steinway Street.
I know you're talking about.
You know, not my boy Najee.
Oh, Rich Roman?
Yeah.
I went to high school with the bro.
Okay.
Yo, Najee, what up, bro?
Shout out my man Najee. I used to work in a bootleg spot with him, and I was always like big on running around and picking up Hot 97 tapes. And then down the line, I was in like a group home like years later, and I reached out to everybody at Hot 97 because like the mixtapes was just getting me by in there. And you know, long story short, I linked up with Rosenberg through MySpace, got out the group home, was sneaking backstage at shows, ran into him in person, begged him year after year for a job. Finally, he gave me a shot and just took off running, man. Like, I don't know, I didn't really have like an inspiration as a DJ, but I just loved hip hop growing up, and like, especially like artists like 50 and Nas, and like, there's a lot of artists out of Queens. I was like big fan of.
So you basically had passion. You was persistent with that. You was consistent.
Yeah.
Like, I need this job, man. That's today's day. You gotta be consistent. We got a dream.
That's a fact.
See what he just said. Got a dream. Keep going. It don't matter how many no's you get that one yes.
Yeah.
That's it. But I'm telling you right now, he got the most important job on the radio because from 12 going on, you know, to the middle of the night, from Friday to Saturday, people going to parties, you know, they drive into the club or going whatever, they go and tune into the radio. So it's your job to get us right, get us ready for the clubs, you know. So talk about that, you know, people going to the clubs.
I mean, it's dope. Like you said, on Fridays, like it's dope. Thursdays it's cool to reach out to people that are in the clubs. I get a lot of phone calls from like the strippers, a lot of people that bottle girls, promoters, like a lot of people call up that are just leaving the clubs. Monday through Tuesday, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday though, it's a lot of like cab drivers, a lot of like truck drivers, people working late, like the graveyard shifts, FedEx workers, like, so it's different. Like during the first half of the week I do a certain show, and then the last half of the week I do a completely different show.
Okay. But I want to talk about, you know, been in the radio for sometime 8 years, going 10.
I started like working with Rosenberg like 8 years ago as like an assistant, so I was around the station, but like I've been on the actual radio for 2 years.
For 2 years, right? So been interviewing people, so you got a couple of years experience under your belt, you know, more than me. So interviewing people, can you tell me about the process going into like the research, you know, trying to get to know the person, like interviewing?
Honestly, like when I first started interviewing people, I really just approached it as a way of more so like I didn't know people. I really didn't know people's stories. I wasn't getting big artists that like, you know, the ins and outs of their whole career, or artists that I could even like search their background information. So my approach early on was just kind of like, I want to get the story that I would want to know from like an artist, you know, that I wasn't familiar with. So like if I met an artist that was just like, you know, on the come up, that was grinding, I wanted to know like where they came from, how they got into music, you know, what they were passionate about as a kid, if they had any other side jobs, like just on a genuine level, like who they were as a person and what led them into making music, and like, you know, what message they had to get across. As things progressed, I started interviewing bigger artists, and like obviously with them you're able to do a little bit more research. So like, you know, as it transitioned into artists that had more of a catalog, that have more music already out, I started being able to like kind of do some research and approach things a little different.
Okay, but keep it real, man. Who was the craziest person you actually like interviewed? Like, what was the craziest interview you ever had?
The craziest person I sat with, I mean, to be honest, I've sat with like not a ton of people that are like super big time. I really liked interviewing like Haha Davis. I thought that was cool. Like he had a really interesting story.
He is funny.
Yeah, Haha Davis was hilarious. So yeah, definitely him. I'm trying to think. This girl Nadia Stone. I interviewed her very recently. The episode actually hasn't even aired yet,
Yeah.
but she has a really interesting story too. Just like growing up in Toronto, she had like relationship with Drake like early on as a kid. Like we spoke for like hours just about that, which was really cool. And then like on the bigger scale, I guess like I interviewed, you know, Rich the Kid was really cool. YB and Amir has been dope. Like that one just dropped, which is pretty awesome. But like I'm just getting used to like the new wave of stuff. Like every interview is different. And I feel like the approach is always changing depending on like what chemistry you have with the artist that you sit with.
I know you DJ and you into music, obviously, but do you see yourself like actually like producing some songs for people?
I don't know if I produce like beats. Like honestly, I've always kind of wanted to pivot into more management and like kind of putting together things that are like, you know, projects and marketing plans. I do produce like shows, like concerts, I guess. I do South by Southwest every year, which is pretty dope. And like I do like putting together shows, or like I've done a lot of production of like radio shows and podcasts. Like I work on Flex's show on Saturdays. I do Rosenberg's show Sundays. I produce like the morning show. So like I guess that's cool. Like I really like doing the production for those shows, and just like I guess the best part of it is like just flexing on the other producers and being like, my shit is cleaner. Like my fault, can I curse? I like flexing on the producers and being like, my shit is definitely like cut up smoother, like my beds are laid better. Like I just like making things very like polished and clean. Like especially at Hot 97, I feel like they can hire anybody in the world. So like if you're gonna be there, you better do the best work there is. Like
of course, like that's Hot 97 was a big name, so you gotta do some work. Especially, but that's good because you know I like to do business too, like marketing stuff. So that's cool. You know, you got DJ out here. You know. You want to make beats, but also get in the business, because like, a lot of people these days they're not like looking at the business aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want to like focus on the music, like the jewelry, the money and stuff. But you're actually trying to make more moves to get, you know, more equity, more money getting in your pocket.
Yeah, it's more fulfilling. Like to be honest, like when you're actually contributing something that you can see happening. Like for example, I have an artist I work with, Live Lake Davis. Like seeing how things come together after setting up studio sessions or booking shows or getting meetings together. It's like very rewarding when you see that like a meeting formulates into like a piece of content, whether it's like a TV show or, you know, a music video, whatever. It's like nice to watch things kind of formulate A through Z, as opposed to just kind of having this cookie cutter, like I do these steps and I get this show. Like, so it's nice when you have like an artist and where things are kind of more worked on like a personal level and not so much of just like a generic like formula. That, you know, that's what really pushes me into management. Because as much as I like doing the interviews and all that, like I feel like you reach more people when you have like, you know, that connection and the music added as an element. Like, to be honest with radio is like there's not so much that's driven by music, I guess. Like, as weird as that sounds, like music is only a piece of it that kind of keeps it going. But the more interesting part of radio is like how the advertisers work and how the personalities interact with each other and like reach the audience. So like the music is like, we could play songs that anybody could play on their Spotify, but it's how you string it all together that's like, that makes it dope. And like to elevate that is like creating the actual songs, like working hand in hand with an artist. It's just like way more fulfilling than I think just, you know, pressing play.
Shit, that's what's up. You know, growing up, I also grew up, you know, Ebro was there for you. Not Ebro, Rosenberg, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how they son.
I mean, Ebro too, I guess.
Because like during that session, like he's the funniest to me, so I just want to hear him. But like, you know, Rosenberg, you know, basically got you in. Like, he was mentoring you basically. So can you tell me like what you took from him, like the steps, like, you know, the lessons that you made?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say honestly, like it's interesting that you say Ebro too at first, because I will say this: I've learned the most from Rosenberg. I've definitely like appreciated, you know, the way he moves, the person he is, how he deals with people, you know, how he goes about having like the passion for music and not really compromising anything ever for politics. Like, so I've learned from him that you really don't have to play the politics, but you can just really be passionate about what you do, and there's always a lane for you. But I will say also, like, just being around the station, working with people like Ebro, Flex, is like, everybody's so different. Like, everybody really has a different personality, a different approach, a different character. And, like, to have people, you know, from all different elements, like, I've learned a lot from Flex, just being in the room with him and hearing the conversations he has, and then matching it up with conversations that Rosenberg might have about a similar topic, but, like, a different angle. And you're kind of able to gauge where you fall with it. And, like, I really feel like I'm a product of everybody there. Like I'm a product of the Ebros and Rosenbergs, of Scythe, like, you know, all kind of boiled down into one. And, you know, I'd say most of all, again, Rosenberg has taught me pretty much everything I know.
Yeah.
But like Flex has definitely influenced like how I feel about a lot of things too. So, you know, I'd say everybody contributes, but yeah, from Rosenberg, it's always just, I would say the most important lesson I learned from Rosenberg, or the most important lesson I learned from Rosenberg, which is really just don't ever compromise, you know, who you are and what you want to do.
Oh, stay true to yourself at all times.
Mm-hmm. It's important, man. Not enough
Rosenberg,
people do that.
He's one, him and Ebro, they're one of the realest people on the radio. Like,
Yeah.
they'll say what thing's on their mind. Like when Ebro's like, yo, 50 destroyed hip hop, he said what on his mind, and you know, after the Grammys, Bruno won everyone award.
Yeah.
I was actually rooting for Bruno, I'm not gonna lie, I love his album, but then, you know, Rosenberg's like,
I don't
that's how I
know.
felt.
I feel weird about Bruno. Like, I really appreciate him as a musician, but I do feel like a lot of it is kind of cookie cutter in the sense of, like...
Because he brings it back to, like...
It's like Disney channeled up. It's like, you know, as talented as Bruno is, I think my favorite artists, and again, it's preference, but, like, my favorite artists all have that element of, like, wildness to them. And I feel like Bruno is very straightforward and, like, this is what I do. I'm great at it. Like, I'm an entertainer. Like I love... Like, it's not even necessarily the music. Like, I love Lady Gaga so much because she'll show you, like, kind of, like, you know, the treachery that is her life at times. Where it's like Bruno is very, like, everything is good all the time.
Yeah.
So...
Everything's 24 karat.
Yeah, everything's 24 karat. But is everything really ever 24 karat?
You gotta have those days when you're pissed off at some time.
Yeah.
You're happy. But, you know, that's the energy you want to give out to bring out to people.
Nah, and I respect it. I look at artists like him or even like Justin Timberlake. It's just like, how are you guys always in a good mood and like positive? Like,
speaking of Justin Timberlake, I'm glad you brought him up. What did you think about his Super Bowl, you know, halftime performance?
I don't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
I'm not watching football. Like, I'm friends. Like, I ended up being friends with like Nessa through working at the station, and like she put me on to like cutting Colin Kaepernick's hair, and I cut his hair. Like I got to shape up the beard. And, like, the conversations that we've had about, like, just life in general, like, all these things, I'm kind of just, like, I'm turned off to, like, the NFL just as an organization, like, to be honest. And I wouldn't say it's honestly even because of just him. Like, it's just, like, knowing him personally, he's such a nice guy, and I can't see how somebody wouldn't want to fuck with him. And, like, I could appreciate it because I worked at companies like Sleepy's or, like, whatever, like, different companies along the way where, like, they didn't necessarily pay as much attention to, like, the character of a person as much as they did of, like, what you could do for them. So, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, like, on the fence with the NFL. Because I love football, but, like, I'm not supporting them. Like, I'm not, if they're not supporting somebody as great as Colin, is what I'm trying to say, like, I can't support that. Like,
yeah, that's a good mention you don't bring into politics or sports. Cause if you follow the NBA, you know what happened with LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron was in the you know, interview with Kerry Champion. LeBron was like, you know, about president and stuff. And then, you know, the Fox reporter was saying, you know, you should just shut up and dribble. Like, how do you feel about that?
Like, yeah, like, who are you to say that? Like, that's the thing is, like, I feel like people are so judgmental of others, and it's, like, doesn't make sense. Like, if Colin or LeBron or anybody wants to take a stance, like, at the end of the day, they contribute just as much to your organization, you know, as you're contributing to their pockets or whatever else you might do for them. So it's like, you know, you need to find a middle ground. You got to allow people to kind of express themselves. Like, whether you agree with their opinion or not, trying to prevent people from expressing themselves is just, like, it's not commendable in my book.
Yeah, people have to express themselves. So when we're going back, you know, back to the music, there are artists that, you know, tell you it's okay. We have Logic that does that, J. Cole definitely, Kendrick, and not if people really pay attention to like Lil Uzi, like he actually talks about it, he really paid attention to his lyrics. He talks about it. Like, he talks about, you know, being okay to express yourself, like what's going through your life and stuff, how to get through it. It's, I don't know, like you're not like really like paying attention to that because it's real life stuff. Even SZA, you could throw in that category with women.
Yeah, no, it's a fact. I mean, SZA across the board, like, SZA is somebody that I feel like is just who she is on, like, projects and in interviews and everything. Like, she's always very, like, outspoken about, you know, what she genuinely feels and goes through. And, like, that's really my main thing with artists. Like, it's not even so much the quality of music because I feel like it's subjective, but, like, just be yourself. Like, I really can appreciate artists that are just themselves, like, regardless of how anybody feels. And, like, that's even why I mess with, like, the extensions. Like, I wouldn't say that there's the most, like, message or substance in even his music, but, like, it's who he is, and he's very outspoken with it. And, like, you know, I mean, in my opinion, like, I love the Kendricks and the Coles and the Logics because they speak messages that are kind of true to, like, my personal life. But at the same time, it's like you listen to a kid like Extension, or you listen to, like, I don't know, like, really anybody, like, you know, that I guess popping, like, to be honest, and people might hate that I say this, but, like, even, like, a Lil Yachty, who's just, like, not saying anything at all.
Yo, I just had this conversation with my friend.
It's who he is. Like, he's not shying away from who he is. He's just out here really saying reckless-ish. If people buy into it and it works for you, by all means.
It's the same.
But if you're a Logic, don't be out here being like, well, Lil Yachty's selling more records or whatever. I don't know if he is selling more records, but, you know, don't be like, oh, he's selling more records, so I need to change who I am to fit that style to make more money. Like, just be yourself, and I feel like it hits at some point or another. Like, whether it's in the moment or later, it will hit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Logic, he's been around the game he's been around the game for years. You know, his time's gonna come. Like,
see, Logic's incredible. Like, I feel like to have even 2 million people following him, like, he's just as big as these artists, and he just doesn't get the credit.
You don't have, like, more media attention.
Yeah, you don't get the credit.
You've known about Logic for years, right?
Yeah, I play Logic. Like, I support him, but I don't think it's, like, the cool thing to support. Like, and I say that, like, with the finger quotes, like, the cool thing to support, because I think there is, like, a culture of, like, cool people that support him. But it's like society kind of says, like, you're not cool unless you have the newest Supreme or the flyest vape or the nicest car. And, like, in all honesty, like, Logic is speaking about real shit that applies to real people.
He actually said that he dropped a song every day. He actually, what did he say? He literally said it. He's like, I don't need all this.
44 more also. Like, both those records that he just dropped, he's like, I don't want to spend $20 million. I want to send my kids to college. Like,
that was
it's real shit, though, because a lot of these kids are going to come up and then 10 years from now look back and be like, damn, I spent $20 million and now my kid's getting ready to go to school and I can't even afford that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I did an interview with somebody, like, I'm not going to mention who because I don't know how they feel about me making this comment, but I did an interview with somebody that said that their best investment that they ever made was buying 2 solid gold chains. And I'm gonna tell you why, because it's a smart thing to say in retrospect. They had a huge record, blew the fuck up, and now it's like all kind of gone. And to say that that's the smartest thing they did is because solid gold you can sell back for damn near the closest to like what it's worth. Yeah. It's like if you spend 10 grand on 2 solid gold chains, you'll get 8 back for each. Where it's like there are kids out here that are spending 50 grand on a chain. And it's customized and all that, and then they go to melt it down, and it's like 10 grand. It's like you just lost $40,000 for what? For nothing. And now your kid has to go to school. That 40 grand is a year's tuition, and like they're just not thinking about it. And I think the industry too, like, doesn't go about it right and like trying to educate kids. I think in a lot of ways people like extort the stupidity and like the situations like they're in, but
like a mentorship program to like mentor these.
I mean, I personally feel like it's up to managers, but again, not every manager thinks like that. A lot of managers are just like quantity over quality and just want to have a lot of artists and make a lot of money.
I feel like they should look up to like the OGs, Jay-Z, Diddy, Dr. Dre.
They should.
Even Drake. Look at Drake. Like if you see Forbes, so even Drake is now on the top 5, tied with Eminem 100 mil. Like Jay-Z, the thing about Jay-Z, the first 3 Jay-Z, Diddy, and Dr. Dre, they make money off of music, yes, but they have ownerships, they got stocks, they got stakes in other companies. So like there's a difference between money and equity. You can have money now and it can be gone tomorrow, but equity, like you're betting yourself on a long term. You're giving yourself more room to grow and more money to come into your life. Not for you, but just your family. So you gotta like know what the difference between those two is. So that's why I feel like people should look to them. Because they are the OGs, they set the standards.
I honestly, like, everything I say and a lot of the stuff that I preach, like, I really do say it because I feel like, these artists are just, like, people worth looking up to. Is like, I grew up really listening to Jay-Z. I watched 50, like, I studied, Dre. I studied all this. Like, I paid attention to only artists that were, like, really trying to do things that had substance behind it. And it's, like, for better or for worse, I was able to say, like, for example, even with Drake, like, I feel like there's times Drake has wavered. I feel like Drake knows right and wrong, but, like, there's times he's kind of swayed to big up his situation, where it's like, I've learned from that just as much as I've learned from a dude like Jay-Z, who I feel like is never swayed, or a dude like Nas, who is never swayed.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, Nas could have easily swayed a lot more than maybe he did, and had a bigger record or done a feature with somebody that didn't make sense, and like just staying true to self made him a legend. Like, and nobody could really say shit.
Nas stayed on his own lane.
Yeah, and nobody can say nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
so, you know, I think people have the misconception that, like, fame and money and all this is, like, going to put you in a better place, but, like, it doesn't. It's like, ultimately, once you have all the fame and all the money, it's, like, quality of life that's important.
Yeah.
And if you set yourself up for a shitty quality life, now you have to maintain that nonsense to, you know, sustain the financial lifestyle that you kind of set yourself up for.
Once
You got a
have the-
wall.
Yeah, once you have the fame, like people, like I could watch you on TV and like, yo, he on TV, he's up in the world, but
Yeah.
that's not necessary. So he could be on TV, but he could be like struggling financially because you know stuff happening. It's like you know buying stuff. Like I always say to myself, like the worst asset you could ever own in your life is buying a brand new car. As soon as that's gonna leave the lot, that value going down.
Yeah, no,
you'd
it's
be
a fact.
lucky to get once you want to sell in fuel, you'd be lucky to get half your money back.
It's a
That's
fact.
what I believe.
It's an investment. Like, I think all the great things in life come with investment. It's like, you got to invest in yourself. If you're going to invest in a car, make sure you're going to get the most out of it. Like, you know, if you're going to invest in yourself, make sure you go about it the right way so you get the most out of it. And like, the most isn't always financially the most. Sometimes the most is just like, you know, the quality of life. Again, is like, you might invest in a Benz, make sure that you're driving that Benz every day and enjoying every second of it because you're paying for that. Where it's like, if you're content with investing in a Toyota because you know you're gonna see just as much of like the scenery, is like, what's the difference? You know, like,
It's just like
you'll spend more money for the flash. Like I'm not mad at people that buy flashy things, but just make sure that you're buying them for like the right reasons. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I've bought my fair share of like Jordans, right? But like, I genuinely love Jordans, and if I spend $800 on a pair of sneakers, I beat the hell out of them. Like, where other people are like buying it to take pictures on Instagram of it, and then they go right back in the box and they throw on some beaters. It's like, what's the point? Like, why are you spending the money to just to flash? Like, enjoy it. Like, enjoy your shit.
Just buying to buy or resell it. You know? Sometimes they buy
I mean,
a retail price and they resell it for like Yeezy and stuff.
Even that, if you get joy out of reselling, then by all means, you're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, you're investing in the experience of being able to go to the sneaker trade show and resell it or whatever it may be. Like, that's just the point, is like, just if you're gonna do something, make sure that the investment is not just taken at face value, and it's not just like money, but it's also like, you know, that you're enjoying what it is that you're investing in, or like even not material things. Like, if you're an artist, you know, really love everything about being an artist. Like, me being on radio, for example, like, I love working nonstop. Like, I really love hustling. Like, I love not sleeping. Like, I mean, there's days where I wish I slept
don't
more.
Be sleeping like that.
Yo, there's days where I wish I slept more, but like, I've had jobs where I wasn't sleeping and I miss sleep. Like,
Yeah.
this job, I don't miss it. Like, I love doing what I do. Like, whether it's snowing out, whether it's raining, whether my car got a flat tire, like, I get to Hot 97 because I love being there. And it's like, I don't make excuses. Like, I don't take off unless I have to take off. If I get sick, I'm still in there. Like, unless I'm like absolutely drained and like done, I'll take one day and then I'm right back at it. And it's like, you have to love that. You can't just love being on Hot 97 because you like talking to people, because then you're only going to show up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when the bottle girls and the strippers are calling, and like, when it's really fun. And you miss out when you're not talking to like the cab drivers and the truck drivers. Like, I learned just as much from them as I do from the bottle girls, and it's just different lessons. Like, you have to take everything as a whole. You can't just pick and choose what you want to be involved in, because sooner or later it catches up with you.
I'm glad you say investing in yourself. I was having a conversation with my cousin. Shout out to K Live.
K-Love, what up?
K Live.
K-Live,
Yeah,
even
what
better.
up?
What's up? Yo, Live Like David, shout out to you and shout out to K-Live.
So yeah, I was having a conversation with my cousin. He was listening to French Montana's, you know, Unforgettable.
Okay.
He said, yo, he had to pay out of pocket because his label didn't want to mess with it. So yo, always invest in yourself, because he paid out of pocket and now he's making.
That's it, even better.
He flipped it because one, he believed in the song. He loves what he's doing. And that song blew up.
That's
So
it.
he was like, yo, always invest in yourself.
And
'cause
paying out of pocket, he
so-
made twice as much money.
So like, you know, going by today's age, like, a lot of artists, you know, you don't really have to be signed to like do anything, but you know, it helps. Because like, if you look at, you know, Chance the Rapper, a lot of in the who was that? I was watching. So what was it? Dude, I forgot his name.
I mean, there's a lot of artists. Like honestly,
He got out of jail because his event got shot up.
oh, I don't know.
I forgot his name.
It's too many.
Whatever you say, he dropped a song basically. And you know how cause like, oh, we only sold this much copies in a week, because you know how the first week is basically like when money's coming in.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm independent, so I made $100,000 for that because I'm invested in myself.
Don't matter,
so
yeah.
Basically, when I'm going back to the top, remember his name. Like, would you tell your artists like always, you know, would you tell your artists, you know, always like when you believe in the song's gonna drop, would you do it?
I mean, I think you got to do what makes sense for you, but like, I really do believe that if you put the time in, you don't need a label, you don't need anybody. Like
Troy Ave.
Oh, Troy Ave.
That's what I'm thinking of, Troy Ave.
Troy Ave's a perfect example, but Troy Ave also, I feel like, played himself a lot because he wanted to fit in with people that he wasn't really like. Like, Troy Ave is not a dude that's a street dude. Like, as much as he plays like he's a street dude, he's not a street dude. He's from the streets, but like, Kendrick is also from the streets, and he was straight
basically
up
like a Nas. Nas is from the streets, but you're not a street dude. You know what's going on, but that's not your mentality.
Like, you feeding into it. Like, Troy Ave had no business picking up that gun at fucking Irving Plaza. Like, why do it? Because what are you trying to prove? Like, you didn't prove nothing. You played yourself. Like, and that's my thing is, like, ultimately, I feel like artists have to be, you know, true to themselves. Like, if you're, like me, for example, again, like, even with my situation, I spent years making friends with people not knowing what the hell I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, I didn't know if I wanted to DJ, if I wanted to be whatever, but like, I made friends that are like genuine friends. By the time you get to the point where you figure out what you want to do, you have real support.
Yeah.
So if you know you want to make music and be an artist, don't make it all about help me. See where you can fit in. Find your worth. Like, if you want to be an artist, it's not just I make music and here's my song. It's like, learn all about production. Go out and meet producers. Learn all about doing videos. Go out and meet videographers. Build with these people. Learn from these people before you start pushing your agenda, because ultimately, if you could learn how to do the best production, if you could learn how to do the best videos, by the time a label comes along, you can tell them, I really don't need your money. I have these producers that I have real relationships with. As opposed to kids that are just like, I did this myself and here it is. And they get lucky with one hit. Next thing you know, they're handed mad money. And then they blow it because they don't understand, like, the process. Like,
one hit wonders.
I say all the time, you can't beat the system. You have to make the system work for you. So it's like, don't try and beat the system all the time. Just try and make that shit work for you. If you're an artist that's like, you know, in a position where you really, you know, you want to be on, spend time going to the shows and link with radio people yourself. Don't just hit them in your DMs like, here's my song. Hit them like, yo, I don't have a song yet, but I'm really trying to figure out what the best approach is. And maybe they'll point you in the direction of like a good producer that could really help walk you through it, as opposed to be somebody that's just forcing stuff for results that aren't meant for them in the time that they're trying to get them. Like,
but you know, I told you earlier, in this video, I want
top
to
five?
ask you, who is your top 5 artists of all time?
Dylan. Oh no, shout out my bro Dylan though.
Shout out to Dylan.
That's my guy, yo. Dylan's the man. Big up to Dylan. That man works hard as hell. I don't know. It's hard to say, honestly. Like, I don't have really a top 5. Like, I would say Nas is up there, Kanye, but like, it changes every day. Like,
I'll give you this thing. Then. Who was like? Give me a name of rappers that basically influenced you the most. That gave you, like, you know, that direction.
I'd say when it came to being a man, Nas. When it came to love, Kanye. When it came to hustle, probably Hov. When it came to like what's right and wrong, probably like Drake. When it came to like being like aggressive, I guess, or like just hungry, probably M. But again, it's like there's variables. Like, there's times where I've turned to Cole for the love shit. There's times where I've turned to Kendrick for the ambition. It's like, it's hard to just say 5. There's too many great artists out there.
For me, I would say J. Cole is my favorite of all time.
Why?
he be speaking to you. I've been listening to him since my first time hearing J. Cole's Higher off of Friday Night Lights. Not a lot of people know that song, but it's a fire song. I listened to Friday Night Lights and the one where they dropped Sideline Story. The song that really put me onto him was Lost Ones. he's talking about abortion, but he did what some rappers don't do. He actually like put himself in the girl's perspective. He's talking as he was the girl.
Nah, he's amazing. I mean, Cole got perspective, bro.
He got perspective on just like love, life, you know, ambition, like because he actually came up. He was poor, so like he's my favorite of all time. And he's a student again. He came after Nas. I'm listening to Nas, so I always go back. Yo, man, I'm like, yo, I can hear. I'm like, yo, J. Cole definitely. I can see why J. Cole like Nas, because remember he did the song Let Nas Down.
Yeah,
so
Nas is a big influence for Cole.
Yeah, so I would definitely do J. Cole. I definitely like Tupac and Biggie. I can't like
Tupac, Biggie.
I can't put.
Like that's the thing. Like I didn't mention them, but it's like that's
they're there.
Of course, 50, bro. Like
my top 5 just finish over, like because you know it says too much people. I'll say 50. I'll put 50 up there because honestly, because I grew up from like I was born in '96, so I kind of grew up like in 50s era. I had to go like back to listen to their era and stuff. So 50, he grew up.
I'm not that old. I was born in 90. We are like 6 years apart.
My
disrespect.
fault.
I'm 27.
My fault.
Shit.
My fault. You know, 50, like he grew up. He grew. Like,
nah, that's a fact.
He's one of the biggest stars in New York. So, but you know, that's what we were talking about, like ambition, like people who are influenced. That's why I say my top 5. Like going back, I just want you to like tell the people, you know. You got hip hop Mike over here. I want to tell you people what's going on. What can we see in the future for you?
Besides in the future, definitely blowing up as a manager with Live Like Davis. I'm about to do some crazy ish with Rosenberg. I'm not like really able to talk too much about it, but like I'm linking with him this week, and I plan on really pushing crazy stuff with Rosenberg. I don't know what's gonna formulate a Hot. I would like to do something like major with Hot. I definitely always want to be able to have a platform to like talk my shit. So I don't know if I'm gonna do like a podcast or something, but like whatever it is gonna be major. And like you should definitely pay attention. And I'm just gonna keep pushing for genuine people. Like I really feel like it's super important for like genuine people to come back in style. Like I'm telling you, as somebody that's went through it and somebody that's been there, done that, like. At a young ass age, like I could have bought so much Supreme and Bape and Bitcoin and all that shit. Like the Bitcoin I regret, but the Bape and the Supreme and all that, like at a certain point, if you work hard enough, you're gonna get that shit for free. So stop wasting your money on it and spend that money like on cameras, on audio equipment, on studios. Like spend it on stuff you're gonna get value back in. Unless you're trying to be a reseller, there's no point in spending all your money on fly shit.
Got Hip Hop Mike here, just dropping wisdom. This whole video he was just basically dropping wisdom. So I want you guys to take that in. And, you know, whatever you guys are into, whether it's music, sports, you know, anything, just stay true to yourself.
Facts.
And keep working hard. Stay consistent with it because you will blow up one day.
Patience and persistence. Patience and persistence.
That is the key. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You got me. Come on. Pause.
Tonight we got my man Jay Moolah sitting in the VIP section. How you doing?
You from Queens? I'm all over actually. I'm in Queens so weekend.
What's up? What you trying to say?
You know what I mean?
Got you. I like the merch, man. It's just dope.
Appreciate it, man.
Color too, right? Yeah, I like it. The red all that.
We ain't even late. We type close.
Black Club Django with 1,500 views. Man, big some love. Yeah, I think I learned you to fit your
East New York. That's when you know niggas dangerous. They say East New York. I don't want to say the neighborhood. It's alright. You got crap. Oh, you from Crown Heights. Okay. You go behind your place.
But I really wanna get to know you. But don't worry, just call me. When you're mad, just say that it's over. Cause I don't wanna waste no time.
Man, I'm here to make it better than you ever thought. Confirming purchases for everything that you have never bought. And I know it's hard to believe, cause other niggas said it before. Want more than to hit it and go. Want more than a chick just for show. That shit don't mean nothing. Work for it, gotta yearn for it. Build an empire that means something. Stack your bread up.